He calls himself the Top G.
The Top G.
Top G. TopG.com.
You are Top G.
I'm Top G.
Well, I think the question I'm going to ask you is, what do you actually mean by Top G? Everyone says Top G. Kids are now wearing t-shirts with Top G on it. I want to be a Top G. I want to be the Top G. Explain a little bit what you mean by that, because it's now a very popular term. You've basically trademarked it. So what do you mean by Top G?
Unless you have been practicing social media detox for a very long time, then there's no doubt you haven't seen, heard, or come across his name.
Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate!
In 2022, Andrew Tate became the most Googled man on the planet in just a couple of months. Talked about way more than Joe Biden, Cristiano Ronaldo, and even Elon Musk.
I was the most Googled man on the planet. I was the most famous individual on the planet. More than Donald Trump, more than Brad Pitt, more than Joe Biden, more than Putin at the start of the war. I was that Googled.
This is a man who worked menial jobs for some extra cash just to fulfill his dreams of being a kickboxer. And while he fulfilled his dreams, he ventured into building his own business empire. And as a result of that, he decided to help young men build their own dream life, motivating them to be the best version of themselves, financially, mentally, physically, and socially.
I say that life as a man is exceptionally difficult. I say the most beautiful and the most terrifying thing about being a man is you're born without value. Society doesn't care about you. You're only going to be cared about based on how useful you are. You have the chance to build yourself up and become a superhero if you're prepared to do the hard work and be indefatigable enough to never quit.
But however, other people think he's just a violent, misogynistic man who wants to influence and convince young men to embrace toxic masculinity.
Schools across the UK are in crisis as the effects of online influencer Andrew Tate's vile misogyny infiltrates our classrooms and society.
He describes hitting and choking women, trashing their belongings, stopping them from leaving the house, and describes them as, his words, his property.
What is this government doing to tackle this misogyny, this incel culture, and the radicalisation of young men in this country?
Am I a misogynist?
And this ended up getting him cancelled and banned from all social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Google, and so much more, with an attempt to silence him for life.
Misogynistic influencer Andrew Tate has been banned from Instagram and Facebook.
Andrew Tate is banned from everything or whatever.
He is banned, okay? Meta announced he's off Instagram and Facebook. Both of his accounts have been suspended.
And now TikTok.
And now TikTok.
And then the other day, virtually every tech company on the planet banned him. Not just his presence.
Like they seize his assets. They seize his financial banking.
But instead of being silent, he became even more popular after the ban. And I keep asking myself, how? How can an ordinary man from very humble little beginnings, who everyone literally wanted to cancel and silence by banning him from all popular social media platforms, but yet still ended up becoming the most Googled man on the planet against all odds?
The most Googled man on earth suddenly banned. And
Extraordinary that Google this week revealed some stats for the year. The #1 person whose name followed people Google searching who is in 2022 was Andrew Tate.
And most people that make a lot of money hide away.
Of course.
They make a lot of money, they hide away. You don't hide away.
No, I do the absolute opposite.
This is the controversial rise of Andrew Tate, and it all started with his father, Emery Tate, who was an African American born in Chicago, Illinois of the United States, and this man was a genius.
I want to give more insight into why I am the way I am, how I became the most formidable man on the planet, how I became the Top G, and tell the story of how I am actually the second Top G, because my father was the original Top G.
your dad was a spy?
My father worked for the CIA. He was a linguist.
He was constantly correcting like all of the time. And people think that as like in a bad way, but I really do like to say that my father was one of the smartest people who's ever lived.
And then they took him into the Air Force. He passed, when you join the Air Force, you do a test. He did fantastically in the IQ test. He's top 1 percentile, so they moved him over to a specialized division to learn languages, and he learned Russian, German, Spanish, and a bunch of languages.
I'm telling you, my dad was a different level of intellect. He was just fucking strange, and it was crazy how smart he was. He had a genuine photographic memory, could memorize the fucking dictionary. The guy was nuts.
And this is what my dad was so known for. My dad is famous in the chess community to this day. Emery Tate was his name. They called him E.T., as in the alien.
Yeah, he was super intelligent, and it was strange to be around.
Because my dad was one of the only players who would never take a draw. And he would rather lose in a blistering blitzkrieg fashion than take a draw, right? So he had some big losses, but he also had some fantastic crushing victories where he just went all out. He was really on the board. It was blitzkrieg. He just come at you with everything.
He was the 70th highest rated player in the United States, amongst the top 2,000 active players in the world. After he won the United States Armed Forces Chess Championship 5 times, Indiana State Championship 6 times, and the Alabama State Championship, earning the reputation as a creative and dangerous tactician. After winning about 80 tournament games against grandmasters, and they all called him extraterrestrial because they thought his style of play was totally out of this world.
Hi, James Altucher was talking about him saying, I never played a guy who played chess like that. The guy was just crazy. Yeah. So he was a crazy chess player.
But chess aside, he wanted to have a family so he could pass on his intelligence to them, and maybe one day, one of his child will take his place as a chess grandmaster when he decides to retire. And that was how he met an English lady who gave him 3 children after they got married. Amongst them were 2 boys named Andrew Tate, born in 1986, and Tristan Tate in 1988. And as you would expect, one of his sons, Andrew, learned how to play chess, and at the age of 5, he played his first tournament.
In America, chess is quite big in the schools, and obviously I had my father as a coach who would take me to tournaments, all these things. I lost my...
So you played a lot as a kid?
I was state chess champion age 5 in Indiana, the under 16s. I was the youngest to ever win it.
You learned to play chess at 5 years old?
I was sitting there across from some 16-year-old. When you're like 5 and a half, that's scary, right? And I remember when I beat him, he cried. That made me happy. I was like, ha-ha!
All right, at 5 years old.
Yeah, I was on the way to becoming a grandmaster.
But everything changed when his parents got divorced in 1997, ending their 12 years of marriage, and just like that, his mother took him and his brother, Tristan, back to England.
I was growing up with chess, and then
our mother and father got divorced. Dad stayed in America to play chess.
My mom was English, wanted to go back to England.
So we moved to Luton, England, lived in a council house, government housing.
Homeless shelter first for 2 years.
Which was multiple times voted the worst town in England. It's a high crime rate. It's a very bad area.
I was 10 or 11.
So I was in a single mother household. We were raised on $300 a month.
So you grew up in Luton, right?
Yeah.
So what was your whole upbringing like then?
Our father was a professional chess player, driving from chess tournament to chess tournament in a Pontiac Sunbird. Sometimes he won, sometimes he lost. So a lot of the time he slept in the car.
Went to a nice rubbish high school. Went to college, did some A-levels.
And I was walking to school, to college with a couple of my friends, and a Ferrari drove past.
And they'd go, oh, cool, Ferrari. And I'd say,
doesn't that piss you off?
And they're like, what do you mean? And I'd be like,
this dude has 400 G's for a car, 400 grand. I'm walking 4 miles to college because my mom hasn't got any car. He has 400 grand. Do you think he works a job? Do you think he's fucking behind a counter somewhere? He knows something about the world that I don't know.
Doesn't this bother you? And they all be like, no. But me, I was always angry.
I couldn't sleep for weeks. I was pissed off every time I saw somebody with genuine money.
So he started practicing boxing and martial arts while working in a TV advertising industry, doing other menial jobs too, just to support himself.
I got a normal job, I got a wagey job.
I worked in a fish market carrying boxes of fish.
And I would carry boxes of ice, like 30 kilo boxes of ice from 7 a.m. till 6 p.m. every day.
Do you remember how much that paid you?
Fish. I think I was making 25 pounds a day.
I was just perpetually bored.
I sold television advertising and worked for an advertising company, etc. And
fixing laptops.
Okay.
Got fired from there.
I had my own business for a while trying to sell TV advertising. And
yeah, I got some sales jobs.
But I was still fighting at the same time. I was training. Obviously, I was really young.
So the nearest gym I could run to was a kickboxing gym and not a boxing gym. And that's kind of how I ended up kickboxing.
My mom went nuts, obviously. Told her I was going to be a kickboxing world champion. She's like, no, you're not.
And that was how we got into fighting and kickboxing properly.
Andrew Tate!
My first fight was actually MMA. And I was fighting a 24-year-old security doorman. And I got in there and I won. I didn't win necessarily through skill, but I just kept going and I just outgassed him. And towards the end, I'm just on top of him, just punch him in the face, right? And I'm only 18 years old, so.
Well, Andrew, what do you think about the fight?
I think it's going to be easy. I'm not worried at all.
You have to be a little nervous.
I am the best fighter here. I'm going to win Infusion without a shadow of a doubt. I'm going to knock him out within 2 rounds most, and whoever I have next, I feel sorry for.
Make his way to the ring, Andrew, the Cobra Tate. But I tell you something, this guy, the Cobra, once he strikes, the venom in his punches are absolutely ridiculous.
Pace when I'm running, I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always
Tate. He did take the second round. Germany is out.
It's time to look at the enemy.
16 fights, 16 knockouts. Like his style or not, he does the business.
But I knew I was well ahead because I knocked him down twice, so I thought I'd wait for the second. so I was in no rush.
Soon after, his brother Tristan also joined him in fighting. The both of them were very good fighters, as Tristan ended up becoming a two-time European kickboxing champion, while Andrew Tate ended his professional kickboxing career as a 4-time kickboxing world champion, winning 76 out of his 85 professional fights, which means he won 90% of his fights. That's how good he was.
I've had 87 fights, my nose has never been broken.
But at the end of the day, he stopped kickboxing for one reason and one reason only.
But I thought my only way to get rich is fighting. I couldn't think of another way to get rich. And I didn't fight only to get rich, but I saw light at the end of the tunnel. So that's all I wanted to do was just fight.
I was fighting, became world champion, started making money with fighting, but even fighting, kickboxing is not boxing, bro.
Kickboxing doesn't make money like boxing. You're making like 30, 40, 50 grand a fight, but you're fighting like twice a year.
And I had an apartment at a BMW and I was doing all right, but I wasn't balling.
Why keep going once you've won?
There's always a new mountain to climb.
But the point I'm trying to make is that
fighting is the worst career path in history.
Why?
Because it's just too hard to make money. Too much can go wrong.
And I'm still not financially where I want to be. And I don't know what else I want to do with my life.
All I did was try different ways to make money.
And I believe I'm smart enough that if I put that much tenacity into something else, I can be a multimillionaire.
And then his father also died in 2015 after suffering a heart attack while playing a chess tournament in California.
How did your dad die?
My father died on October 17th, 2015. He was playing chess. He was sitting at a chess tournament. It was his third game. He won his first two. He stood up to go bathroom, came out about a minute later, said call an ambulance, and unfortunately passed out and never woke up again. The ambulance came very, very quickly. I think they arrived in like 4 minutes, but they couldn't resuscitate him and he died at war. He lived his whole life at the chessboard, and I'm glad he died at the chessboard. That's where he...
What kind of man was your father?
He talked about dying a lot, even before he had any kind of health issues.
I think I had the best father on the planet. I was very fortunate to be raised by the greatest man on earth. My father died with absolutely no money.
He had no money.
He had $12 in his pocket. My father's mission was so important to him, it was almost beyond money. I've been with my dad when he would go to the park with no food, no money for food, and go to the park and have to hustle the chess park players for fucking $50. And he'd do it. And he'd do it because he was a G. He is gone and I am here and I carry his name, and it is my duty to bring honor to him. So my goal as my father's successor is to be even more successful than he.
Okay.
That's what I decided.
So what's step one that you do?
So step one is, maybe that's how we ended up here together, my friend. So it's like, I want money. What is money?
So in 2016, went on as a guest in the popular British reality TV show Big Brother.
You're about to enter the Big Brother house. You are on a secret mission on behalf of yourselves and the others. Your goal is to manipulate and take down.
Definitely, some people didn't like him right off the bat. Immediately, he walked into the Big Brother house.
They moved me from one house, the other house, to the main house. And when I walked in there, I decided to cause chaos. I walked into the main house after about a week, and I sat everyone down and told them they're all snakes. From what I've seen, 8 of you, snakes, you know, snakes. Saying to someone that you're upset they're evicted after voting for them, not arguing with someone to their face and slacking them off to the diary room. These are things I've been shown. This is all I've been shown. I'm telling you what I've been shown. That was about 50% true, but I exaggerated because I wanted to cause division and upset the whole house. The house erupted. It went nuts. All the dudes started threatening me, so like trying to act like tough guys. They obviously didn't know my pedigree, right? They didn't know who I was. So I know I'm the most intelligent person in this house. I know I'm the most capable person in this house.
And just only after 6 days, Tate came under scrutiny for his homophobic and racist comments on Twitter and was removed from the reality TV show after a video of him hitting a woman with a belt went viral.
There's a video from 10 years ago that showed me in a sexual act with one of my ex-girlfriends. I didn't say the word listen. Did I say listen?
Which Tate and the woman both said they were friends and the actions in the video were consensual.
I just wanted to say something about the video that's been released recently about me and my ex-boyfriend, Andrew Tate. Andrew is my still great friend. What you guys saw in the video, it's just what we used to do. It was just pure game. He's a great guy. He would never hurt anyone. Unless he's fighting.
It was between 2 consenting adults, and we decided to do something ourselves, and we both agreed it was fine. And she has not come forward trying to accuse me of anything. So who are others to do that? And I was causing so much trouble that the producers were saying to me, look, you're causing a lot of trouble, but if a fight kicks off, you have to make sure you don't, you're basically saying don't defend yourself. But if someone swings at you, we want you to make it very clear you have to wait for security. I said, no, if someone swings at me, they're getting knocked the fuck out. And they thought for the safety of all involved, you better get him out of the house, and that's what happened.
But moving on, him and his brother decided to partner together to start a webcam business, employing as many webcam models as they possibly could to sell fake sub stories to male callers.
In my previous life, I was certainly I knew some very dangerous people. I've done some dangerous things.
Because he's in pain. And what's worse, he realizes that he borrowed money from the wrong people and his life is on the line.
So I took 20 of the money, went to the casino, and lost it all. Came home, now I'm 50 G's down. So I said to Tristan, we got a week to pay this money. I'm not gonna leave my bedroom till I find a way to make 50 grand.
So I'm sitting there researching money for days and days and days.
So I told Tristan my plan. He's like, bro, what if you don't do it?
What can I do? I can play chess. I'm just writing down the things I have and what I'm good at. And then I kind of realized, I was like, I've got like 8 girlfriends.
So I identified this, and I knew some girls who wanted to make some money. So I was like, look, instead of working in Starbucks or doing this other admin crap, come do this, I'll pay you triple.
And so I'm like, maybe I could open a strip club and like be a pimp, and, be a gangster about it.
But at the time, I didn't have money to invest in a strip club. And while I was doing my research, I discovered this whole webcam thing because I didn't even know it existed.
And that was the beginning of my little attempt at a webcam empire.
And that grew into quite a big enterprise. Yeah, across 6 months, I went from 1 girl up to about 10 or 11 girls.
I keep everything organized, put the schedules together, all that kind of stuff.
Claiming they have made millions of dollars with just this business.
At one point, I was doing $500,000 a month profit.
And we started doing $300,000 or $400,000 a month through these online websites that had guys sitting there talking to girls.
I was making a lot of money, but it was a lot of headache. And then I've invested in a few other businesses. I own casinos now in Romania. So it makes me more money, so.
He also started an online business venture called the Hustlers University, which was created to connect business-minded people together while teaching them different methods on how to make money online.
Hustlers University is the greatest thing that exists on the face of the planet for people who are trying to escape the matrix.
Which I've priced so cheap, $60 a month. So cheap that anybody can join. There's no one who's too poor for that.
Yeah, so inside of Hustlers University, we have 18 modern wealth creation methods. So we teach how to make money 18 different ways.
And so one of the questions I get most often is why I started Hustlers University.
And you had to have nothing to start with. If you had internet and some time, you could make money.
So anyone who agrees with me and understands how the world truly works, I want you all to have as much money as possible. That's the first thing. Everybody who joins makes more money than they invest. Look, even if you spend $60 to join and you make $300 the first month, it's still a win.
Some people think the Hustlers University is a scam and a total waste of time.
This course doesn't seem to be getting people rich. It just teaches lost guys extremely basic skills that are free to learn, but charges them $50 a month for it so they can feel like they're escaping the matrix.
So firstly, there's always going to be somebody who thinks it's a scam. I joined, he told me to do something, it takes an hour and a half, I'm lazy, scam.
While others think it's really changed their lives and it's a really good platform for the price.
I've made 10k this month so far and I don't feel good. This is the first time I've ever made this amount of money in 1 month and I don't feel good.
He also created a group which he calls the War Room.
I started the War Room to basically put the feelers out there and attract a conglomerate of superheroes.
There's the only 2 things I sell to the world. I sell how to make money in a university and I sell a network. Because if you have those 2 things, you can have anything you want.
There is no doubt Andrew Tate has so many other businesses because his lifestyle and his net worth is totally insane. And you can't tell me he's worth this much just by having 3 businesses, because what he mostly talks about is his Hustler University and the War Room, while keeping the rest a secret. While working on all of his different businesses, Tate also became a social media personality, amassing millions of followers on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube and Twitter, using his platform to motivate and give young men advice on how to build their own dream life.
If someone comes to me and says I'm clinically depressed or I feel very, very sad, I would say the first thing you need to do is stop accepting the identity of a clinically depressed person. Stop accepting you have no control over this.
I've never met somebody with a fantastic life who did not completely and utterly believe in themselves. I've never seen somebody massively succeed and they didn't believe in themselves, ever.
This was why lots of people followed him, loved him, and loved to listen to what he had to say, because he was broke at the early stage, building his wealth to the top, overcoming lots of challenges.
There's huge proportions of the population who were good people who decided to be quiet because they were afraid, and terrible things happened. So I think that I have a duty to God to run my mouth. So here I am.
But unfortunately, this was when things took a different turn. People who just started hearing about him for the very first time started hating on him because of his views about women and depression, calling him a misogynist and a sexist.
What are your thoughts on Andrew Tate?
I fucking hate that guy.
Why?
Because he's a misogynistic piece of shit.
What do you think?
I just don't like him. He's just a bad person.
and all of these criticisms ended up getting him banned from all social media platforms. But in his response to all these criticisms, he doesn't hate any woman, instead he praises them.
There's a guy on TikTok who walks around and says, "Have you heard of Andrew Tate?" around college campuses, and people go, "Yeah," and he goes, "Do you like him?" and they go, "No." Why? He's a misogynist. What's misogynist?
I can't name anything specific, but I just don't like him.
And then they can't answer. They don't know what they don't even know what it means. Like it's almost sad.
A lot of the people who dislike me don't live lives I'd want to live. So it's very easy for me to discredit their thinking.
I think you're a misogynist.
Absolutely not. I'm not a misogynist on any level. This is one of those buzzwords they throw it. They just throw at people randomly. Homophobic, racist, misogynist, they just throw it out at people. When someone goes, "You're wrong," and I go, "Well, if I'm wrong, then I get to be me. And you're right, you get to be you. Perhaps being wrong is fine." That's interesting.
What is your view of women?
I absolutely not only love women, I adore women. I have good relationships with women. Not a single woman has come up to me on the street since I've been canceled. Not a single one has said anything negative. Every single one of them has said positive things. You're a traditional male. I wish more men were like you. You understand your masculine roles. You understand what you're supposed to do. You understand you're supposed to protect women. You're exactly the kind of man I'd be looking for. I've never had a negative interaction with a female ever since I've been dubbed the biggest misogynist in the world. Please let me finish. I'm sorry, Pierce. I champion women all the time.
I absolutely not really love women. I have nothing against women. I believe women are the most precious things on the planet. They create life. They should be protected. They should be provided for. I would never let a woman pay for a bill. I would never let a woman, if someone touched any of my women, I would stand up against 10 men by myself and risk my life to protect her. I believe that women are beautiful creatures.
I think women should be happy. I think that their job inside of a relationship with a man quite often is to be a beacon of light and to be sunshine and to be a cheerleader.
I just don't think that they're as emotionally calm as men in stressful situations. I don't think they can fight like a man can. And for the same reason, I would never drop my children in an all-male nursery. I think that's strange and weird. I would only drop them in an all-female nursery.
With me in my life, the only way a woman can truly support me is to be constantly positive. I'm fantastic at everything.
After all the social media platform banned him from sharing his views and opinion, with the major goal to silence him for life so no one hears about him again. But their plan failed, and instead, it backfired. He kept talking on people's podcasts on this big social media platform just to defend himself and what he believes in. And even without a TikTok account, he dominated TikTok in just 4 months, becoming the most famous man on the internet. You can't literally go to YouTube or TikTok for 30 minutes without seeing a bunch of Andrew Tate videos. In as much as people were spreading hate and portraying Andrew Tate as a bad guy on social media, he still became popular in a good way. Everyone still loved him because he was spreading positivity, embracing masculinity, while motivating young men to become the best version of themselves.
I love Andrew Tate, that's my boy.
You know what I see when I watch your videos, and they're very funny. I send them to my wife and she sends them back, they're very funny. And I know that sometimes you deliberately piss people off.
Yeah.
You've said that. But the big message that I see is personal responsibility.
The number one goal I have is for all of my fans to live fantastic lives.
Take control of your mental health, take control of your physical abilities, your weight, your finances. I think that's what you're about.
I want you to be strong. I want you to have a woman who loves you. I want you to be happy. I want you to live a fantastic life. I want you to be rich.
I'd rather have Andrew Tate call me a brokey, call me a wagey. Actually, I'm not wagey, but I'd rather that motivates me.
Let me tell you something. People hate Andrew Tate, but they never give a real reason on why. Oh yeah, he's Messiah, oh he's feminist. What has he actually said that says F women?
And even the women who we all thought were against Andrew Tate, because of how he speaks about women, still loves him in person.
So I personally learned so much from him.
He was really polite in person. I didn't expect him to be, like you said, so smiley, very warm. And I will say that I do feel like he is very pretty grounded. He is fair.
He talks about happiness. And again, his content is for men, but I like it.
No, I felt like he was so different in person. And I feel like that's why you can't really judge people based on that.
What he is saying is not crazy. It's the way he's saying it.
And that's a very astute observation, and you are correct. Anybody you can emotionally control, anybody you can emotionally affect, you have them in your pocket, right?
And that's the thing about the way I talk and the things I say. Some people find it inspirational, and some people are upset by it, and their ego prevents them from learning from it.
And I feel like a lot of people don't like it like that, but it's if you get past what he's how he's saying it.
Other than that, listen, he's better looking in person. He's smiley, he's friendly, he's got high energy. He's a good Sagittarius, sunshine in human form. He's actually quite cool. I liked him.
The kind of people who are really genuinely upset by what I say are the kind of people who can't truly learn anything and become successful in life.
And with the recent purchase of Twitter in 2022, everything was about to change.
We are following breaking news. The deal is done. Twitter has been sold to Elon Musk.
Perhaps I'm optimistic in this particular circumstance, but I believe that the social media companies will eventually understand that they made a mistake, and as public sentiment shifts, they're going to offer me reinstatement. It doesn't matter to me either way, but I do think that is coming.
David Andrew Tate is back too for now, anyway. He was first removed in 2017 for saying women should bear some responsibility as victims of rape, and he hasn't exactly been shy since his reprieve.
And just like that, he was back on Twitter that first got him banned before all other social media followed suit. And now he's back to posting tweets regularly, both motivating tweets and tweets that will surely stir up people's emotions. This is where the story of Andrew Tate should have ended, but unfortunately, it's not even close. And now everything Tate has been saying about his cancellation are finally coming to fruition.
I'm going to say this on this podcast now because I say it on every other one.
I knew it was coming. I absolutely knew it was coming because of how orchestrated it was. The only thing, and I'll state this at the beginning, the only reason I'm upset by being canceled is because I've expired one of my lives.
Because when the Matrix cancels you, it goes in 3 stages. First, they insult your character and attack you. It's stage 1 of the 3 stage.
Then they make up a reason to put you in jail.
And if that fails, they kill you, right?
So now I'm down to my last 2 lives.
Now I have to make sure they don't try and suicide me. That's the next goal. Because what happens if you don't shut up eventually, that's what comes next. So, and I'll make it very clear here, I would never kill myself under any circumstances, ever.
Because that's what's next. That's what's next. It's scary. I'm telling you, everyone thinks I'm paranoid. Everyone thinks I'm crazy.
And the reason I say this, and I say this to people, they go, but what can they put you in jail for? And I'm like, how ignorant are you? In your ignorance to believe they need a reason.
I like to think that if anybody sees a media article where I've been locked up for whatever it is, they're going to look at it and go, this is bullshit. Tate didn't do that.
I either stop being James Bond, or sooner or later, there is a near 100% chance that I, Andrew Tate, end up in a jail cell.
Controversial social media influencer Andrew Tate has been arrested in Romania on suspicion of human trafficking, rape, and forming an organized crime group.
And with the way things are going, the story of Andrew Tate is far from over. All we can do now is to wait and witness what happens next.
Doesn't change anything.
Yeah. What's the exact definition of top G? Top G, top striker.
Yeah. A top G is a man of impeccable perspicacity.
So the ability to always pay attention, perspicacity is perception. So unmatched. I'm always paying attention to everything all the time.
And sheer indefatigability.
I don't become tired.
Who is a feared opponent.
In any realm of human endeavor.
Correct.
So a man who always pays attention and never gives up is a feared opponent. No matter what you're fighting against him.
That's a top G.
That's a top G. When you are top G, you are dangerous at everything. That's why I'm top G.
And while we all wait to see what happens, watch this video next where we look into the toxic world of social media, from the deaths, frauds, and fake influencers. I'll see you there. Peace.